Hey, what is going on? LinkedIn, YouTube, all the places. Looking forward and excited to be hanging out with you. As we get closer to Babs, I've been bringing on some friends, doing some lives, and just talking about all things. And last week, I had a phenomenal conversation with a new friend of mine, Miss Isabel, who is pretty much owning all of Fort Worth, Texas right now with her amazing event called Access Fort Worth and all the things that come with it. Just phenomenal watching her journey and story unfold. And she's doing things that I really wish were, part of things that, back in the day when I was doing a ton of networking in Fort Worth, I wish something like this was around so I could participate with it. So, Miss Isabel, welcome and thank you for
Good
hanging out with
morning,
me.
Donnie. How are you?
Phenomenal, phenomenal. I've really enjoyed getting to know you and learning more about your world and the things you're into. Tell people just briefly who you are, what you do, and how you came up with Access Fort Worth.
Good morning, everybody. LinkedIn community in YouTube. It is such a pleasure to share the stage with you this morning. As you heard, my name is Isabel Cable, and I am from Guatemala, born and raised. And I am what you would consider a transplant in the city of Fort Worth. Life, God, and just purpose brought me to that amazing, incredible city. And what we're building right now is an entire ecosystem where everybody come together. We bring in all the partners together in the city, just so everybody benefits from the partnerships and collaboration. And then, with that in mind, we also invite people that are not from the city that potentially are thinking about expanding the business, being transplant themselves into that incredible city, and we welcome everybody. Just imagine being new and then having a friend, a close friend, a partner that is going to walk you through and tell you who are the people, who are the organizations, the chambers that you should get involved with that are going to help you succeed more rapidly rather than you navigating on your own. So that is in a nutshell Access Fort Worth. That is, a little bit of who I am, and just excited to be here this morning.
Absolutely. You said something to me as we were talking last week that building a network and networking are two completely different things. Tell me more.
This is actually something that I learned at my most recent conference that I attended last week. And so there is leadership in building your network. It's not the same as networking. When you go to networking, you can take an active or a passive approach to it. You meet a lot of people. What you do with it changes drastically how your network evolves. You can, go to an event, kumbaya, hug a whole bunch of friends. But if you're not taking really an active approach on meeting new people and then following up with those people and then adding value to those people rapidly, then you are just on the, you're not on the driver's seat where you are really expanding who you have on your network, who you add to this wonderful thing that you carry with you all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty wild for me to think about how people approach networking in general. You've got people that networking is their only source of business development. It's like it's their entire sales model. So they walk into rooms and all they're doing is trying to find clients, not understanding that 90% of the time the clients are never in the room. You
Correct.
know, so when I think about building a network versus networking, it's a massive mind shift of how I should approach it. It is most people are going at it from, well, this is how I find clients. Desperation and the likes is not getting them in the headspace of building a network. They're out networking.
Mhm.
How does somebody frame it so they are actually focused on building a network versus actually networking?
So let me give you some data. And I promise you I am not going to get very technical, but something as simple as at Access Fort Worth, one of the things that we do differently is that we track not attendees, but reality is we track what is the behavior in the room. That's what we are looking for because that helps us to make decisions. And we track it through our app, Live Connect. And so something as interesting as almost 2 weeks ago when we had our July Access Fort Worth event, basically everybody registered and we asked them what are they looking for. 100% of the people that were at the event told us that they were looking for new clients.
Mm-hmm.
Hard stop. That's fantastic. That's great. 0% of the people told us that they were looking to purchase something at the event. And that, my friend, is the change of the mindset that you have to walk in. Think about it. Nobody wants to buy from you when you go to these events. Nobody. And so why would you think that pitching at the event is the right approach? You and I had this amazing conversation last week where we were both agreeing that if you are not really making friends, building really good relationships at these events, you are purely wasting your time. Because then if you're just focusing your precious time on pitching, people automatically are shutting you down, building a wall, and you are not going to be able to find those referral sources or referral partners that you should be focused on building.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wild to me because I think about it like, if say you're walking through a mall, even though very few of those exist anymore, if somebody were to walk up to you with a clipboard, you instantly shut down and try and wave them off like you don't want to be approached for it. But yet everybody's doing that out while they're networking. It's like they're walking up to people with a clipboard. It's like walking into a furniture store and all of a sudden the salespeople come racing at you, and people are cheating, networking that way. And they're not thinking through that they're not going to the event themselves to buy anything, like you said. So why would they expect anybody else to be doing it? And, as we talked about, most people take 3 to 5, conversations with somebody to go from unknown prospect to client. Like there's several meetings over time. So why would you even consider pitching when you first meet somebody when you're not going to buy anything the first time you meet some, maybe at a trade show or something where people are expecting to maybe make purchases, but it's absolutely wild to me. How long do you think somebody, needs to go to networking events, meet with people before they start establishing that trust over time?
Oh, that's a great question. Consistency in these type of events matter the most because they want to see people that attend these events want to see that you're a real one, that your business is there to stay and stay for good too, but really building trust and understanding who you are, not as the professional, but as the person. What are your values? Do your values align with theirs? How do you think? What is your character? Because what that does is two things. Number one, they are more open to listen to you and to potentially buy from you. But the most important piece is, would they refer you their friends? And would they feel safe referring you those friends, knowing that somebody on the other end is really going to be taking really good care of those friends? Nobody wants a story of, I'm connecting, Mary with John, and then later on having Mary come back to me and say, hey, John screwed me over, or John never responded, or John, didn't really follow through. Nobody wants to hear that, because then at that point in time, I already compromised my social capital with Mary. So the time that you invest with meeting people, like in reconnecting over and over, and the way that I say it, dating them, over and over, is the time where you are establishing that trust that you are going to be taking care of anybody that they refer you, and you are also going to be taking care of them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I usually try and get people to think about it this way. Think about your number one client, like your favorite client you work with. How long and how much time would I have to invest in you as an individual before you would ever think about introducing me to your number one client? Because really that's what we're doing while we're networking. right? Is we're not selling directly to the people we're talking to. We're actually looking to network through them to get to the people they know, get to their clients and the likes. And so I've got to earn that trust, right, with people. I've got to earn that relationship with them. And if I don't look at it from that perspective, I'm just going to churn through a lot of people and burn, as you said, a lot of bridges. Because let's be honest, your personal brand, your social capital, how people are speaking about you when you're not in the room, right, is everything. And so if you're not establishing these strong relationships, these deep relationships with people, you continue to do drive-by networking where you just show up at an event, grab a couple cards and run off, like you're never going to win this game. The other thing that I think about, Isabel, and you're amazing at making people feel this way. How do you get people to feel like they're actually a part of something versus they're just at an event? Like, how do they feel? How do you do such a great job at bringing people together? They feel like they belong.
Culture is and should be at the essence of every single event that you do. It's not the space; it's how people feel. It's that undescribable emotion that you experience when you are walking into a room. Did anybody see me? Did anybody recognize me? Because those are two different things. You can be seen and then you can be also ignored at the same time, you know? But did anybody recognize me to the point that they came to me, approached me, welcomed me, hug? How have you been? I haven't seen you. How are the kids? How is work doing? And, approaching that somebody by the name, like literally being seen. And it's not the amount of time. You don't have to spend 30 minutes doing that. But it's the fact that somebody was able to see you and recognize
Mm.
you. And if you create the culture where everybody's doing the same thing, that's magical. During my time, I had the incredible opportunity of serving at the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for over 2 years. An amazing organization. I love them to death. And during my time, I would always picture this in my head. When you attend an event and you leave that event, two things are going to happen. You will get into your car and you will say, man, what a waste of time. I could have been doing one, two, three, four, five. Or the second option that can happen is that you will immediately grab your phone. You will call a friend of yours, a colleague, somebody that is important to you, and you will call and say, man, I just went to this event. You should have been here.
Yep.
It was fantastic because X, Y, and Z, because they are energized. And that energy comes from building a culture. And that culture replicates. They then become the people that are talking about your event, and that's what we are trying to build at Access Forward.
Yeah, no, it's impressive. Because you've literally created an amazing culture, phenomenal vibe of people. And part of it's Fort Worth. Fort Worth's just a great town to network in because people will approach you. They'll introduce themselves. Like when I went down to Houston, I literally had to walk up to every person and introduce myself. In Fort Worth, it's the exact opposite. Like people are going to come straight up to you. You told me about an interesting story that I want you to relive for these guys. Tell them about the guy who stayed behind to help you clean up after the event. I think it was a gala or something. Tell them a little bit about that story.
Okay, so people often think about marketing dollars and they think in terms of I'm going to invest more on my website, I'm going to push Facebook ads, I am going to, do invest more money on swag. Okay, they could do that, or we could change the mindset and framework into how can I do to serve and add value to other people? Because then those people become your referral partners, really, your marketing strategy, the word of mouth, which is three times more powerful than any of the above that I described before. So at my time at the Hispanic Chamber, of course, we're a nonprofit organization. Of course, we were running events. But you want to know the people that we would love and refer the most? It was the folks that were staying behind on tough days when we needed to clean after the fact. Imagine having a gala, running a gala when gala time was coming around. We were running from 8, 9 a.m. in the morning all the way to midnight. And we were like hosting and, catering and dining people, and it was incredible. But by 11, 12 a.m. in the morning, we were exhausted. But it was amazing, the people that were staying behind and helping us pack and pick and put things away and transport the things into the truck and then moving the truck to the office and then offloading the truck at the office. That was incredible. You want to know the people that I would refer first? It was literally them. And it's a massive, tremendous opportunity that is missed out most of the time, especially by small business owners or businesses that are like getting started and they want to spread the word about who they are and what they are doing, because there are so many nonprofits that are out there wanting and needing your help.
For sure.
And so imagine, the network of nonprofits, and they need your support right now. And what a fantastic way of positioning yourself as somebody that is adding value into the community. So, literally, one of the people that were helping us, I just used his services 2 days ago. It's my amazing friend Luis Diaz. I literally called him on Sunday and I said, hey, I need help with X, Y, and Z. And he came, and he is a trusted partner for me now. And think about it, I am no longer at the chamber, but he
Right.
is a trusted partner, and he will remain a trusted partner for me forever.
Why do you think most people don't think that way? Why are they approaching life, networking, everything from this different perspective and not doing like what this guy's done for you?
Because building relationships is underrated.
Tell me more.
Transactions are the things that were the most valued with the previous generation, with the baby boomers, with even the millennials. But we are seeing a tremendous shift right now with the new generation needing, craving, and wanting to do business with whom they really know. Because the moment that you know somebody and you trust that somebody, price is no longer part of the conversation. It's no longer important, because you trust that person and you want to help them and you want to give them business, and then you just want to do business with them.
Yeah, I look at it through a lens of, people weren't good at making friends in school. They suck even more now in adult life because somehow they're still playing this game of high school of popularity and worried about what people think and the likes. So, how does somebody get better at the simplest way of putting it, making friends? I mean, because a lot of people, the studies show that like 80-90% of the people who actually go out and network are introverts. Right? They're quiet by nature. The idea of walking up to somebody and saying hello is like one of the scariest things on the planet. How do people get better at it?
This advice is coming from my personal experience. So in Guatemala, networking is not a thing. It doesn't exist. Literally, if you were to own a business that sells printing business cards, you would go bankrupt in a month, because that's not the culture. That doesn't exist. What the culture is all about is word of mouth, and so that's the perspective that I bring. It is really getting to know somebody as a human being in the basic form: who you are, where do you live, what are your kids, what do you like, basic things that oftentimes are underrated when you are at networking events, because you're thinking about the business and you're thinking about closing the deal, and you're thinking that if you don't walk out with 50 business cards, that you just wasted your time, when in reality it's quite the opposite. If you were to walk away with two really good businesses that you are now good friends, that you went ahead and exchanged phone numbers, and that you have them on a text message basis, and that you went ahead and scheduled your coffee for next week or the following week, that was a successful event.
Yeah.
Because then it's the law of reproducing that over and over. And those two friends, Those two new friends can introduce you to two other new friends, and those two new other friends can introduce you. And that's the multiplication. But oftentimes we are more invested in the transaction and getting like a healthy stash of business cards. But then think about it. How long will it take you to go over, the 20 business cards that you collected? Can you realistically schedule 20 coffee meetings that are valuable, really, in the next 2 weeks? Really? Is that attainable? And it's not.
It shouldn't be. I mean, I've seen people do it, but not well. Not well.
Yeah. So my advice is, again, coming from somebody that was not a networker by nature, by culture, by all the things, go and really try to meet people. Connect with commonalities, find commonalities like places that you live, things that you like and enjoy, together. Your children, your background, vacation spots, hobbies, really, because that is going to, instead of building a wall, is going to build a bridge, and that's what you're looking forward to doing.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I see a longtime friend, Bruce, hanging out off screen. Bruce, do you want to come on? You can just tell me yes or no. He's like, no, hell yes. Watch this just because I can, because I have power. What's up, Bruce?
Hi,
You're muted though, brother.
you're muted.
That's how
There
I
you
sound best.
go. Bruce and I go back, what, 15, 16, maybe longer years? It's been a number of years. And still probably one of the most connected men in all of Fort Worth, Texas.
Neither one of us had gray. That's all I know.
That is true. That is true. This all comes from running your own business, and it's not gray, Bruce. It's chrome, like it's just highlights. So, Bruce, what's your take on networking overall? Because I've learned a lot from you over the years.
Mhm.
Well, I'm an introvert, and I think you have to figure out what is comfortable for you. If you're uncomfortable, it's not going to work. So, I mean, I do a lot of stuff. I went to a lot of meetings, but now I do most of my stuff through LinkedIn. And I think the best way to network is just to have the attitude, what can I do to help you?
Yeah.
Instead of how am I going to make this sale or what can you do for me? And I think when you do that, people realize you're genuine, that you really, especially if you if you do what you say you're going to do, people respect you. They send other people to you. You get a lot more referrals. Um, but I do think you have to be careful. I'm sure both of you get a lot of requests to introduce people, and you are putting your reputation on the line when you do that. And so I think that's something else to think about. But
you know,
anyway,
I
I
tell
mean,
everybody that you have to legit rank your network, and I've got it in 5 tiers now. Right, tier one are people that are just assholes that I don't want to be around. Like I don't want anything to do with them. Right? We all have them. We all those people you walk up and as soon as you meet them, you're like, I'm out. I don't want anything to do with this person. Tier two, this is the crowd. Right, these are all the LinkedIn connections you don't know. These are all the business cards that are sitting on your desk. Like they don't really know you. They don't really know what you do. You know how to have their card. Rank three, these are your champions. And your champions are the people that are going to bring your name up in rooms you're not in. They're the ones that are actually going to be talking about you. They're ones in some cases are going to be networking for you or even trying to sell for you because there's a mutual win-win relationship there. Rank four are your untouchables. And these are your clients or anybody that you'd protect or take damn near an act of God to introduce somebody to. And then the fifth one, these are potential clients. These are the people that you're proactively trying to sell to. And so when people meet, if you don't put them in some sort of box, it's very hard to figure out what I should do with that person. And I can tell you, I'm not going to introduce somebody to somebody else if they're not some sort of champion of mine. Like if they're, because as Bruce said, I'm going to be putting my name on the line when I make that introduction. And your social capital is everything. And if somebody burns that bridge for you, it's going to cost a hell of a lot more. So I'm going to get towards wrapping this up because these things should only go for about 30 minutes before people completely tune out and quit listening to them. So if you guys were starting a business, let's say you worked in corporate for a number of years, you're now out and you've launched your own company and you're getting into the networking game, how do you decide where to spend your time? And then what's your strategy for networking after you figure out where you should be spending your time?
It's an amazing question.
I'll tell you one that I found recently. It's a website called Networking Executives. And they have done a freaking phenomenal job of curating events between Dallas, Houston, Austin, and Fort Worth. One of my favorite things they did is they didn't allow groups like my networking groups to be listed on the site. So if you stand up and do a 30-second commercial type pitch thing, they won't allow them on the site. What that did is clean the events up from a lot of crap that you don't want to attend in the first place. And I love it. So the events, they're curated from like veterans events, tech events, ops events. Like, it is a really well done website. That's an easy way to find a bunch of events to attend. So check out Networking Executives.
I'm going to tell you from my perspective and from what I have learned is that a lot of people think that networking is a switch that you just turn on and then automatically you start going to all of these events, and then they get frustrated because they don't get what they are looking for. But they have to take one step back and start with a plan. What is your goal for networking? What are you looking for? I met with a really great friend of mine yesterday for breakfast, who is literally in corporate America. And, he was like, well, I don't want to leave my current job, but I want to start networking just because I want to, get with like-minded people. So my advice was, sit down, really write on a piece of paper, what are you trying to get out of that? If you are going to a networking event, write down what are your goals and objectives. And based on that, then search for the organizations that are offering that type of audience, that type of value, and that will align with your current schedule. Because, usually people will come to you and say, oh, join all of the chambers and join this and join that. But really, you are just joining. And in reality, then you can complain that the organization is not giving you what you're looking for, because it is your responsibility to come with the plan. And a lot of the times we go and network without a plan.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Bruce?
Well, I mean, the three of us are at three different generational periods. And I do think where you are in your career depends on how you might network. I think that, I'm 30 years older than Isabel, and we're probably looking at different things and trying to do different things. I think one of the things that people don't think about enough is networking could be joyful. And how about if you look for, maybe a nonprofit that you feel strongly about, or try to get into, if you're into gardening, go volunteer at the Botanic Gardens and meet people there. So I think, a lot of it has to do with what generation you're in, where you are in the time of your career. And I don't think enough people, they think about it as work. And what if you could turn your work into joy?
Yeah. Yeah, because I can tell you, for where I am this stage in my journey, like, I don't network in person hardly anywhere. All my stuff is virtual. Like, I'll come in for Isabel's Access event, or I'll go see Cheryl Powers Connect Fest, coming up. I'll go and attend things like that because I know it's a curated audience, the right people. Like, I'll have a ton of our members, at all these events. So it's a good way to go be seen and get seen. But I don't need to drive in for a typical happy hour. I don't need to go to a chamber event, anything like that. My crowd's not there. And for me, I want to be networking with people that are moving and shaking this world. Like, they're doing stupid big things, because I want to be in rooms where I'm challenged, where I am forced to learn things, and I find, unfortunately, a lot of the events and things that I end up attending, I'm the big fish in a little pond. And I want to be the minnow in a really, really big pool of people that I can learn from. So, thank you guys for hanging out with me on this. I love doing these, and I love getting, fantastic opinions and thought processes. Guys, if you're looking at the Badass Business Summit, Isabel will be speaking this year, putting her on stage, so you guys can learn from her. Tickets, there's only 2 VIP tickets left. There's only a few general admission tickets left. So if you're going to get those, move fast. Go to badassbusinesssummit.com to see Isabel and our other amazing speakers. I have 2 sponsorship tables left as well, if anybody's interested in those. But come hang out. We'd love to see you. Isabel, thank you so much for joining me. Bruce, thanks for surprise jumping on. I love it. Guys, go have a kick-ass day. Love you. Mean it.
You as well. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Absolutely.
Bye.
See y'all.